What is the best dua of Arafah? And what was the Prophet ﷺ saying that entire time? Okay. And this is perhaps, subhanAllah, one of the most beautiful understandings of dua that can be extracted from the dua of the Prophet ﷺ. The Prophet ﷺ made dua on the day of Arafah, all the way from Dhuhr to Maghrib, without pause. He prayed Dhuhr and Asr, shortened and combined, and the Prophet ﷺ made dua all the way from Dhuhr to the time of Maghrib. And we don't have anything of his dua except for one. SubhanAllah. When the Prophet ﷺ would go on a Safa wal Marwa, and he would do his sa'i, and he would make dua, sallallahu alayhi wasallam. The Prophet ﷺ would make long du'as, every single circuit. So every time he stood on Safa, every time he stood on Marwa, between those du'as, the Prophet ﷺ would lengthen his dua. We don't have any narration about what he would say. When the Prophet ﷺ would stone the jamarat, subhanAllah, look how dua is embedded in Hajj. When he would stone the jamarat, between the jamarat, the Prophet ﷺ would face towards the Kaaba and raise his hands and make dua. And he would take a long time, sallallahu alayhi wasallam, making dua. We don't have anything narrated from that dua. The day of Muzdalifah, the Prophet ﷺ would pray Fajr and he would remember Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and he'd make dua until the sunrise. We have nothing narrated of that dua. Why? Because the point of dua is not to be on script. The point of dua is to be sincere and connect to your Lord. Sincere supplication. And so we have the du'as from the sunnah, which are undoubtedly blessed, but we also have the example of du'a from the sunnah, which is also blessed, which is that raw emotion connecting to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in your own language, in your own way, in those moments. And so what do we have from the Prophet ﷺ about the day of Arafah? The best du'a, one narration the Prophet ﷺ said, La ilaha illallah, just La ilaha illallah. And another narration, the more famous one, the Prophet ﷺ said, the best of what I and the prophets have said on this day. So when Musa alayhi salam stood before Allah on this day, when Ibrahim alayhi salam stood before Allah on this day, when Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam stood before Allah on this day, what did they say? La ilaha illallah wahdahu la sharika lah. Lahul mulk wa lahul hamd wa huwa ala kulli shay'in qadir. La ilaha illallah wahdahu la sharika lah. Lahul mulk wa lahul hamd wa huwa ala kulli shay'in qadir. None has the right to be worshipped Allah. He alone, who has no partners, to him belongs the dominion of the heavens and the earth, وَهُوَ عَلَى كُلِّ شَيْءٍ قَدِيرٍ, and all praise. And he has power over all things. لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له له الملك وله الحمد وهو على كل شيء قدير. Now I want you for a moment to just stay with me, inshallah ta'ala, about how beautiful this dua is. And this is something that I want us to try for this year in particular, bi'idhnillahi ta'ala, and hopefully it can become a practice that we take on beyond, inshallah ta'ala. There's an authentic narration where the Prophet ﷺ said, whoever says this dua on a normal day 100 times, 100 times, La ilaha illallah, wahdahu la sharika lah, lahul mulk wa lahul hamd, wa huwa ala kulli shay'in qadir. Whoever says this 100 times in one day, the Prophet ﷺ said the reward of that is, it's as if he freed 10 slaves. And 100 good deeds will be written for him. And 100 bad deeds will be wiped out from his accounts. And on that day, he will be protected from the morning until the evening from the shaitan. And no one will be superior to that person except for one who increased in that which he has done. Meaning one who even did more than 100. Okay? This is on a normal day. To say, La ilaha illallah wahdahu la sharika lah, lahul mulku wa lahul hamd wa huwa ala kulli shay'in qadir. The Prophet ﷺ said the reward of freeing one person from slavery is that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala would free every part of your body from the fire. What then of the reward of freeing 10 people from slavery? The Prophet ﷺ mentions the good deeds being written for you, the sins being wiped out, and you being protected from the shaitan. And no one is superior to you except for one who did more than you. So here's a very basic prescription for the day of Arafah. If this is on a normal day to say this 100 times, then on the day of Arafah, make sure you say this dua at least 100 times. And the barakah, only Allah knows how much mercy, how much blessing will be written for you as a result of it. If that's the best thing that you could say on the day of Arafah, then make sure that you say it at least 100 times, bi'idhnillahi ta'ala, on that day. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala allow us to attain that reward and so much more beyond what we can comprehend. Allahumma ameen.